Sis, let me ask you this. Who are you when no one needs you? You've been the one, the go to, the fixer, the dependable one that everyone can lean on at home, at work, even in love. You're the woman who makes sure that the ship does not sink. And you've worn that badge for so long that it has now become your identity. But here's the question that no one ever asks you: who are you when no one needs you? If the phone stopped ringing, if the emails stopped piling up, if your partner suddenly came to you and said, "Hey, babe, I got everything figured out," who are you then? Are you still valuable? Are you still lovable? Or would the silence feel like a 10-ton weight on your back? Tonight, we're peeling back the layer that most powerful women are not asking themselves, or that they rarely admit: being addicted to being useful. What happens when usefulness becomes the cage that keeps you from experiencing the intimacy, the rest, and the type of love that doesn't need you to do a thing, but just be? Welcome to tonight's conversation. I am Marshaun Olaniyan. I am a shift relationship strategist, and you are listening to KCCR Brownstone Cityscapes Radio. Welcome to Love Restored, where I'm your host, Marshaun Olaniyan. We are taking a deeper dive into conversations with powerful Black women, specifically when it comes to them feeling needed and or not. Again, who would you be if no one needed you? If you no longer were a use to your family, to your friends, to your coworkers, to the people underneath you at work, to your partner, who would you be? How would you then show up? So today I want to tackle some of these things that we need to be aware of, that we need to pay attention to, because you are who you are, and you really don't need to be or perform to be anybody else. So with that being said, one of the things that came to mind was this invisible fear that you may have experienced before but haven't leaned into. If I'm not needed, will I be left or even left behind? A lot of times we tie our usefulness to our worthiness. What I mean by this is many women secretly equate being chosen with being needed. Some of the things that you can even assess yourself with is: do you feel valuable when someone depends on you? Whether it's your family, whether it's your friends, whether it's your partner, whether it's your coworkers, etc. And if they need you, have you ever thought, if they don't need me, they won't leave me? The usefulness becomes a form of emotional insurance. Emotional insurance. So instead of asking yourself, do they love me? Right? You often ask yourself, do they still need me? You hear the difference? Do they love me? Do they still need me? Right? This is that emotional insurance that I just brought up before. Or maybe exploring the quiet panic that surfaces when no one calls on you for help. The stillness can make some people feel like they are being rejected, as if the silence means that you're no longer important to those people who were coming to ask for your help once upon a time. Without the request to fulfill, you may even start questioning your role or your purpose or even your desirability with your mate. This fear can creep in, and you may be wondering, if I'm not needed, am I still wanted? Listen, you are worthy without being needed in any situation. Now, on your job, in your career, you may be needed because of your title. That's completely normal. But inside your home, outside of your work, outside of your titles, outside of your materialistic things that you have been able to gather over these years, and put yourself in a situation to live in an affluent neighborhood and buy the things that you want to buy, travel where you want to travel, sit first class or business class, etc. All of those things are great. But when you look at your relationships, the relationship you have with yourself, the relationship with your friends and family, the relationship that you have with your spouse, when you look at all of those relationships, how many people can you count on one hand that has your back unconditionally? How many of those people on that one hand that you can actually say, you know what? They probably have called me to ask me because they needed something, but they also call just to check in on me. They also call just to see how I'm doing. It's a give and take with this person. And maybe with this person over here, it's just take, where you are the giver. You are giving, you are pouring into him, into her. But when you sit in silence and think about that particular relationship, you can say, they've never poured into me, or rarely have they poured into me. I remember I had a client. It was actually a male client. And one of the conversations that we were having is about his mom in particular. And I remember him sharing with me this particular feeling that he always was the giver and she was always the taker. And I remember him mentioning that one of the conversations where he was frustrated with his mom because he finally saw that she just seen him as her financial ticket, if you will, that he finally asked her, you never asked me how I'm doing. You have never asked me about my wife. You've never asked me about our relationship. You barely have asked me about your grandchild. Only thing when you ask is about your monetary gain. What can I provide to you? And as harmful, as hurtful as that conversation was, because he actually saw who his mom is in that moment, I will say, of course, it crushed him. But I'll also say this: he started handling that relationship completely different. And so, this example was about his mom, but your example could be about your partner. Your example could be about anybody in your life, like one of your besties, or you thought it was a bestie. I had another client, a lady, and we were talking about this subject as well. And she was saying how, Marshaun, I did not realize that I don't have any true friends. I am the ride or die. I'm the one that everybody calls to get, or to, that they need, because I'm going to be there. I usually show up. And it was very apparent for me on my birthday. This is her still speaking. It was very apparent for me on my birthday who was the important people that were there for me and who was there because they felt obligated to be there. And so we really just have to take off the rose-colored glasses and see people for who they are, not for who we want them to be. But in her learning this, she was like, I don't necessarily need to keep showing up for the people that are not showing up for me. My day, her birthday, my day became about them. And so it's a very hard pill to swallow when you start to see how people really are and who they really are in your face. And then I asked her, is it something that you are now paying attention to? And has this person, and in her case, it was another woman, and has the woman that you're talking to me about, has she always been this way? But now, because you have done some work on you, now you can truly see that this has been her all the time. And so she sat there and thought for a moment, and it was kind of like a pregnant pause. And it was probably only 30 seconds to like maybe 2 minutes. But that 30 seconds to 2 minutes was really heavy for her, because I heard her aha. And she was like, mm, mm, yeah. She's always been like that. And that's okay, because now she doesn't have to show up and fulfill that person's need, especially someone that was just taking advantage of her. The guy that I was talking about, he still supports his mom, but he does it in a different way. And also his thought process about it is, this is my mom. Now, maybe he'll decide to not support his mom, not converse with her, whatever, but that's not my decision. That's not something that we have talked about. And so this is mainly about us being needed. So I don't want to make this conversation about his mom or about her friend. This is about us being needed and who we are being. So the question is, do you know how to be loved without being leaned on? Do you know how to be loved without being leaned on? Which brings me to the second point: busyness versus belonging. The difference between being valued and being seen. Why constant doing creates admiration, but not intimacy. Constantly doing does not bring about intimacy. It does bring about admiration, because most people are not willing to put in the time, energy, and effort that you have put in. People will applaud how strong you are. They will applaud your accomplishments. They will applaud your reliability, but they will rarely ask about your heart. Remember, I was just talking about my male client and how he was talking about his mom. And you've never even asked me these questions when we talk on the phone. Everything is about what I can give you. Think about your circle. Think about everybody in your circle. Your parents are in your circle. Your siblings are in your circle. Just because they're blood related does not mean that we have to tolerate the things that they are bringing into our world. We still have to set boundaries with our blood relatives, as well as our friends, as well as our coworkers, as well as our boss, et cetera, et cetera. You still got to set those boundaries, because people are only going to treat you the way that you allow them to treat you. So it's a matter of how you want to be treated. You have to recognize that your contributions, right? I should say, you will get recognized for your contributions. Yet that recognition does not translate into that deeper connection, the thing that you are craving, which is that deeper connection. It doesn't translate into that. It's just a matter of, again, being taken advantage of. And none of us want to be taken advantage of. None of us. Who wants to be taken advantage of? I don't. Your productivity wins praise, right? Oh my God, you're so reliable. Your accomplishments, woo, woo, rah, rah. But it often builds a wall instead of a bridge to genuine closeness. It often builds a wall, not a bridge. Also thinking about this, the loneliness of always being the helper and never being the one who is helped or even held. When you're showing up for everyone, but then you're struggling to allow anyone to show up for you. I actually just had a business lunch with a lady I'm possibly going to collaborate with, but that's beside the point. The point is, she fit this actual description. She shows up for everybody. She has conferences for everybody. She is making sure that everybody is mentally taken care of. And then I just simply asked her the question, who's taking care of you? She got quiet. It's a beautiful thing to take care of others, but it's even more satisfying and even more beautiful when you allow others to take care of you, especially you as the constant giver. You're giving, giving, giving. You have to take time to be given to. The same conversation with the possible business partner. I asked her, when and how does she celebrate her wins? Because she's actually done so much for this community and for people in this community and just around the country. And she said, you know what? I don't. Once I complete one thing, I'm ready for the next. And when that's done, I'm ready for the next. And when that's done, I'm ready for the next. And I said, well, when do you ever have downtime? And so, you know what? She actually told me something very sweet. She actually told me that after each event, she takes 2 weeks off. But it's 2 weeks not running around the city. It's not 2 weeks actually being disconnected. And the only reason why she's taking the 2 weeks is because this is the sweet part that I mentioned. The only reason why she's taking the 2 weeks is because her boyfriend makes sure that they have a trip planned at the end of every event. Although that's very sweet, it really is. I wanted her to say what she's doing for herself. Because what she secretly told me was, even though she's off for those 2 weeks, she's still planning for the next thing. So she's still not even really resting. She's a part of this usefulness identity that I'm talking about here today for high-powered Black women. She's fitting right into this. And so she doesn't see anything wrong with it. It's not time for her to really go deep and introspect on, yes, it's beautiful that you are showing up for everybody else, but now it's time for you to show up for yourself. She's not ready for that conversation, and I'm not here to push it on anybody. If you are ready, matter of fact, I am a coach outside of Love Restored. I serve professional Black women who are struggling with their self-confidence / self-esteem. They're struggling with the clarity for not only their life, but also in their love life and really around the dating scene, as well as having the courage to speak up, the courage to set boundaries, the courage to say no, the courage to actually put down that phone for those 2 weeks and just be. Most of us can't deal with the silence, and I help you to put things in place for you to be able to deal with the silence, for you to be able to speak up and ask for the things that you need, for you to have the confidence to know that you are already worthy just being you. You're already worthy because you were chosen out of all of the sperm. Yours needed to connect. The sperm needed to connect with the egg to create you. You're already chosen. You're already special. You're already worthy. You're already beautiful. I know this about you, and I don't even know you. The question is, do you know this about you already? That's the question. Because, baby, if somebody always has to tell you about you, if someone always has to feed into you without you feeding it to yourself, you are always going to be looking for outside forces to make you feel good about you. You don't always have to be needed to feel like someone has to use you in order for them to love you. Because just because they use you does not mean that they love you. Being able to fully disconnect so you can truly recharge who you are and how you're showing up, so you can continue to give to the next person. That's something that each of us need. That was something that I struggled with, even understanding that when I was in my marriage. I struggled with understanding that we need me time separately. Yes, we need me time together. Yes, but I'm talking about separate, where I can just be Marshaun and he can just be him, and you can go off and just be. Like, I love it when I'm able to take time away from being mom, because I want to just keep my identity as Marshaun. I'll always be her mom, but I don't want to just be seen as mom. I want to be seen as myself, as my full self, knowing exactly what I love to do. Like, what are some of my hobbies? I love reading. I love taking baths. I love traveling. I love hanging out with family and friends. Like, can you name some of the things that you love to do? Or is your identity attached and tied to, I'm a mom, I have this title, CEO, whatever, right? I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor. All of those things are great, but it doesn't tell me about who you are. Like, I love laughing. That's a part of my identity. I have a nervous laugh as well as a crazy laugh, but I laugh all the time. I am a genuinely happy woman. I am very sweet, but I also can have an other side of me as well. Like, can you start running down some of these things about yourself like I just did? I named about 8 or 9 things about me that I love about me and who I am. Can you do the same? Or is your identity attached to your title, all of your titles, whether at work, whether it's like a child under your parents, whether it's a sibling to to your sister or brother? Is it just the titles, meaning and don't leave out the career titles, right? I'm the CEO, I'm the director, I'm the all of those things are great. I'm totally not putting them down, which is why I decided to work with powerful Black women, because I wanted us to understand that not only can we be powerful, we can also be soft when it's time to be soft in our love lives. A lot of us are losing the connection between being a powerful woman in her career and also being a beautiful, vulnerable, soft, feminine energy exuding from our pores woman in our relationships, specifically the romantic one. You can be both. It's a matter of understanding how to get to both. All right, I digress. Before I digress, if you need any of the type of coaching that I just mentioned to help you get from where you're at and feeling about yourself and how you're looking at yourself to feeling better about yourself, feeling more confident, having more clarity in your life, being able to be courageous and speak up for yourself. If you're looking for some help like that, then reach out to me via my email. It's Marshaun@MarshaunOlaniyan.com. I'm sure it's going to be in the show notes somewhere. Reach out to me and let me know that you are ready for coaching to take it to the next level, and we'll get on a phone call to see how we can set this up for you. Now, I digress. We're getting back to our regularly scheduled program. Who are you when no one needs you? Which leads me to the next thing. Stillness as a mirror, right? That's that silence I talked about earlier. What comes up when the noise stops? Many people are scared of the noise stopping. That's why we have so many of these distractions. And can I tell you, most people have issues at night when the world is quieting down and those things start to come up. Did you know? Fun fact, but not really fun. A lot of suicides are committed in the night or in the wee hours of the morning, when this quiet or stillness or silence is occurring. It's because of all of the things that are coming up that during the daytime, we can shut them down. We can escape them. But they don't go away until we face and are able to sit in silence. All of these things will still come up and find a way to haunt us. Okay. Many women distract themselves with busyness so they don't have to come face to face with themselves. So they don't have to come face to face with what is actually coming up for them. So they don't have to come face to face to really recognize who has hurt them and how people are not truly there for them. Is this your story? How are you when the stillness comes in the depths of the night? Can you sleep? Do you have insomnia? Are you struggling with the busyness because you don't want to deal with all of the things that are coming up for you? When you are keeping a full schedule, This could become a way to avoid the uncomfortable questions about love, about your self-worth, about loneliness that constantly resurface day in and day out, but especially, as I mentioned, in the wee hours of the morning. Achievements and to-do lists create a false sense of control, masking deeper unmet needs. You may even feel like slowing down might reveal that you are not ready to confront these things, like how exhausted or unfulfilled you may truly feel about your life, about you possibly not being in a relationship, about maybe you even possibly not experiencing what you wanted out of life, because it's a relationship channel, right? It could be the relationship that you really wanted, the marriage that you wanted, the child or children that you really wanted, you being able to be strong enough to tell people no, again, about those boundaries. Like, there are so many things that could be happening, and it could be a combination of plenty of those things. But this is why I decided to work with Black women specifically, because I understand some of the things that you are going through, because I've been through many of them and I have overcome many of them. I know exactly who I am and what I want and the worth that I bring to the table. Can you say that as well? When the silence is here, is there anxiety that starts to bubble up when there is nothing left to prove to those around you? Ask yourself, without another milestone, deadline, or project, are you going to feel lost? Maybe even asking yourself, who am I without what I do? The funny part is that your body may even resist the stillness. You may find yourself fidgeting a whole lot or reaching for a distraction to escape the discomfort. The distraction could be social media. The distraction could be the constant scroll. And I know I just said social media, but social media you could be jumping all around. But the scroll, the hours of being sucked into it, I've been there. And it's not so much for me nowadays, it's not so much that I'm trying to escape. It's just one good video, the algorithm gets you. One good video, the next good video, before I know it, I'm like, oh my God, it's an hour and a half. It's 2 hours. I've been laying here trying to go back to sleep, and I've been scrolling for 2 hours. What else could I have done in those 2 hours? I could have sat still and silent and actually, maybe it's time for me to meditate, or maybe it's time for me to say a prayer to God and actually relinquish the things that I'm carrying that is so heavy on me. Now, most of the time, I'm not thinking about anything when it comes to running away from anything. My mind running is busyness from other things, but it has nothing to do with my self-worth at this point in my life. But maybe yours is. Maybe yours is. And so I really love to lean on God, who has the power, who already has the blueprint, who already knows how my life is going to turn out, who actually told me I didn't create worry for you. So there's no reason for you to be worrying. It's just not. Beneath the anxiety is often the grief of the years that you spent proving instead of simply being. So here's my invitation to you. Instead of filling silence with doing, being busy, not settling down, I would like for you to practice listening to the whispers of who you really are. I love you guys. Know exactly who you are. Know exactly what you want. The only way to deal with those silent, not silence, the only way to deal with those critical inner voice or those things that keep coming up, you got to face them. You have to face them. Otherwise, they will still be there and you'll be looking for another crutch to help you through. Thank you so much for being here for these 30 minutes. I'm Marshaun Olaniyan. This is Love Restored, and you are listening to and or watching KCCR Brownstone Cityscapes Radio. Listen, we're going to talk about this chaos. Next episode, the next 2 episodes are about chaos. What is chaos doing to you? And then the chaos into the calm. So we're going to talk about the chaos in the next 2 episodes. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.